Hey everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of The Dinosaur and the Dude, the only podcast with the shittiest audio but the most amazing content. Thank you all for tuning in to listen wherever you are and however you're accessing us. We appreciate your time and we appreciate your interest in us. So sit back and relax, or if you're driving, enjoy the ride as you listen to another amazing episode. Hey everyone, this is Dude. This episode, we're going to be talking about a lot of different topics. Some of those topics will have little touches here and there in regards to suicide, sexual abuse, and abortion. Those things trigger you, feel free to not listen to this episode or listen to where we'll give warnings right before we talk about it and fast forward accordingly. Other than that, appreciate you listening to this episode and enjoy.
What are we going to talk about?
So tonight, hey everybody,
Hey,
this is part two of the Dinosaur and the Dude. Part two, by with that I mean episode 36, part two. It might not even be part two. It might just this be the part, solid part. But in any case,
fair.
thanks everybody for listening to the new episode here. Like I said, it's the 36th episode, and hey, if you don't know, you're about to know. This is the Dinosaur.
That's me.
And I'm the dude, and this is the podcast. Not only the podcast, but the shittiest podcast with the most amazing content in the entire damn world. We're so shitty that we have our own fine print, which the dinosaur is going to present to you right now.
That's true. Y'all listen up, kids. So what we've got is just the awareness that we really don't know shit. We are just talking out of our asses, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
We're not trying to offend anybody, and we will offend you. So if you're offended easily, maybe, maybe this isn't a place for you. But if you're here and you're fucking weird, then welcome. You found your tribe. Did I miss anything?
No, you didn't miss anything. We're good.
Okay.
So everyone, so we had a couple of things happening in the world. Okay, that's how big we are now. We're talking about stuff in the world, not just about us. And we did start a little bit previously talking about, or alluding to the discussion of prison babies, and I didn't know if we wanted to get just into that because we had this other thing about um, the the guy that's been gone for 8 years.
And he's in Texas, isn't he?
Yeah, so we'll hit him. So
Don't hit him. Hell, he's been through enough.
yeah, he's been through enough.
Give
No,
that brother a break.
clearly does not need my add on.
His
But
name is Rudy, correct?
Rudy, I'm probably butchering this last name, but it's Farias, Farias. In any case, Rudy's hot on the scene as of late. He's kind of cooled down this week and a little bit last week too, but because they're still trying to figure out, okay, where do we go from here in that regard? And unfortunately, there's been some other abductions in the news that have taken interest from people. But in any case, Rudy Rudy went missing for when he was 17, just gone. And they interviewed his mom, and she's like, "Yeah, he got abducted and taken to Mexico." And I'm like, "Fuck, okay, I guess we're gonna look for this kid that's probably in Mexico right now, but just in case, we're gonna, search for him all over the place.
But he
Hopefully,
was never reported missing until they started asking questions, right?
well, yeah, and signs are up. Uh, Looking around, how that search kicked off. I'm not entirely sure, but in any case, Rudy was gone, and gone to the point that, and again, what we're about to say and how this podcast works is all entertainment based on some things and factual here's and there's that are going on, but it's all our take. So
Sure.
you listen and apply whatever we're saying with a grain of salt, but in no way am I like emailing back and forth lead investigators, and I got my finger on the pulse of this thing.
Right.
It's
And if you
as
think that we sound like we're fucking idiots, hey, guess what? We
yeah,
are.
read the fine print. So they take statements from the mom, and at some point the mom makes the statement he should be walking back, or something to the effect that I told him to walk back. Like if this
From
ever happens,
Mexico.
yeah, if this ever happens to you, son,
Right.
pro tip, walk back
Like,
by go north,
just
okay?
covering that base.
Well, because Mexico's in the south, so you want to go north. And a good guide to go north should tell them to walk going north and use the moon as your guide.
Yep, because the moon
Uh-huh.
definitely stays in the north area.
Tell us about it. Tell it. Tell it.
Because in Canada, you can really see the moon. I mean, sometimes here we only see a little bit of the moon, but I think pretty much they can see the whole
that's
moon.
that's a far north, though. Compared, like I mean, honestly, if he had to walk to Canada, I think if I was Rudy, I think I would have been like, no, you know what? I think I can make a
I'm gonna
life
stay
in
in
Mexico.
Mexico.
I can make a life in Mexico. Maybe not in the town that I was abducted, but I can make a life. Mexico's big enough. I can find another place in
Yeah, I'll sell
Mexico
Chick-fil-A.
because Canada is far. I just don't think I have the legs to walk that. But anyway, yeah, she told him to walk it. Somehow that information got out that was the statement, to walk
Or
it.
perhaps arrange a ride, call the
Nah,
authorities and be like, "Hey,
nah, nah.
but we're just gonna see if you got the survival skills, son. So if you do,
Yeah, right.
start
Yeah,
hoofing it."
like, look, this is gonna make when you get done with this walk, the world is nothing. You will be able to do everything. So in any case, he goes about doing this apparently, and then 8 years later, he's found outside of this church, and they see this guy. He's got blood coming from his head. He's been he's rough. He's in rough shape,
Why was he
and
bleeding?
they don't know. And they're like, "Yo, who, what happened? What? Okay, we got to help this person because it's a church. You want to help people."
Sure.
So, and then that's when the M Night Shyamalan twist just gets completely revealed. And investigators come in, the civil rights activist, he comes in, and they're taking statements from this kid, and he's like, and by kid, I mean he's 25 now, and they're like, "Yo, what? Who are you?" And they find out who he is, and like, "Oh shit, this is the kid that's been missing, for 8 years now. He
You
8 years
made it
ago.
back from Mexico.
Where have you been?"
Mm.
And then that's when the floor dropped. Because also keep in mind, his family in Texas were still like, damn it, Rudy's gone. So his family is with his mom, and they're mourning him. They basically
Thank
said,
God, yeah.
okay, dude's dead, and his family goes through the grieving process, and just digesting the whole thing about like, okay, Rudy's dead. And his cousins, they're growing up without him, and then next thing you know, ta-da, Rudy's.
Ta-da!
Hey guys, Rudy's back.
Rudy's
So,
Rudy's back. Oh, where did he
so,
go? Well,
like,
actually,
wait.
how about that?
So Rudy's in the hospital, and then they, started getting more information from it. Come to find out, Rudy, the whole time, the whole 8 years, was in the house
Fucked
with
up.
with his mom.
And she hid him.
Yeah, And so now, like, the reporters are outside of the hospital and they're interviewing the family, and the family's like, hey, look, don't let us find her.
Oh shit.
Like his cousins, which are now, you know, full on adults, they're all like 25 and up, and they're like, yeah, we went through mourning. We thought dude was dead. Don't
Right.
let, if we find her, it is not going to be, it's not even close to be. We were
Right.
over, it's not going to be pretty. We were over the house. We were there mourning. We were there for holidays. We were there
Right.
for dinners.
And not once was he ever mentioned
We,
or
ne- what do you mean he was in the house? What do you mean? How in the house was he? Explain. And
so fucked up.
and then they get more statements from Rudy, and it's like, yeah, I was in the house the whole 8 years that I was supposed to be missing. And
Did they
then
have him
after,
like chained up or anything or
no, apparently, okay, so it was the first interview, information came out, and then he did another one where he was clarifying things. And he was like, yeah, I wasn't chained up. It wasn't locked. I just stayed in the room where I was told to stay. And
the hell?
he eventually starts to talk about how he was brainwashed, and he was led to believe that if he left the room, any in in the house at all, some bad things will happen.
Mm.
And it sounds very juvenile. It sounds very, you know, um, boogeyman in the closet, or the monsters under my bed, come save me, kind of thing. But the time that around about the second interview, you start to see like the real psychological shit that was going on, and how heavy it must have been. So they were already looking at the mom and saying, okay, this kid was sexually assaulted because he was told and made, however you want to look at it, told, made, um, to sleep in the bed with his mom.
And there
He
was
did,
some inappropriate stuff
he
happening.
did, yeah, he didn't really like get descriptive on what that might have been, or in what way, how it it could be. But even in his second interview, he was saying he doesn't Rudy was saying that he doesn't, think of it as sexual assault. That there were some boundaries that were crossed, but he doesn't really think of it as sexual assault. And I guess some people just don't, because, um, they kind of think of it as a compound thing. Like they know what's sexual and they know what's assault, and it's usually somebody's beating up on you and all that kind of thing. And if those two components aren't happening, then in their head it doesn't really register as sexual assault. Um, but psychologically and in the eyes of the law, um, it very much so goes into that category.
Yeah.
But yeah, what the family ended up finding out after Rudy's second interview, he's like, yeah, he didn't elaborate, or at least the reporters didn't elaborate on specifically what room he was in, but he was in a room. He wasn't locked up. He wasn't handcuffed or anything. And he could hear everything. His family, when they came by, did celebrations or
Mourning,
came to visit,
crying.
holidays, he was there. He just was in a room that no one ever opened. He never came out of it. He just was present in the house. Then they started to realize that the neighbors knew he was there, but didn't know he was who he was. Because the mom had gotten to a point where she figured that either Rudy hasn't been around, for so long, or there was enough new neighbors in the neighborhood that, um, they wouldn't remember him. And so she gave him a different name. I don't think that name was released.
Fucked up.
she gave him a different name, and so the neighbors only knew of him by that name.
Right.
They didn't know that
So
that
when
was.
they were like, a person named Rudy is missing, they had no idea it was this kid.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't. Nah, she just has her kid Alfonso there. There's no Rudy. I'm
Or
just giving
yeah, whatever the name
giving
is.
it Alfonso. Yeah. So the psychological thing ended up coming into play because they ended up realizing that his dad was a. So there was the four of them apparently. Dad, mom, and then Rudy and his brother. And so the dad was a Houston police officer,
Nuh-uh.
and I guess things just got really, again, if you have any issues with mental health or being triggered by something right now is about the time you probably want to skip forward, maybe 15, 30 seconds. But yeah, so things happen in a way they didn't get really descriptive, but the dad ended up committing suicide.
Mm.
And so I guess that's like the bookmark where things with the mom really went off the cliff in regards to um, a psychological breakdown because he was out and about as a police officer. Bad things must have got to him, and that's what led to him
Right.
killing himself. So now she has her two sons, and then uh, the if you leave the house, bad things happen gets reaffirmed now because
Of
this
his
one of the
dad.
well, it gets reaffirmed now because one of the sons go out and they end up getting in a car accident and die.
My God.
So now it's like, yeah, if you leave the house, something bad is going to happen to you.
Right.
Rudy, you can't leave. And you're like, she's like, you're my only thing left. I mean, I can't. And she deemed him now to be he was quoted saying that she was kept telling him, you have to be the daddy now. You have to be daddy.
Yikes.
And you have to sleep in the bed with me. You have to. And
Uh-uh.
he would protest. He would like, yeah, I don't like this, and this feels wrong. So wrong. Why? What did I do? Why? What's wrong? What? So,
Oh, gross.
and he ended up leaving the house one time. And how this played out is kind of fuzzy too, but he was driving. Rudy was driving, got pulled over, gave the cop the fake name, and for some reason or another, the cop let him go.
Oof.
So he went back home, and now it's like, okay, it's not just my mom. I witness now two bad things happen when I leave the house. Basically, it you know confirmed what the mom was always saying, kind of thing. So
Yeah.
now you're like, so now you're in that headspace, and next thing you know, 8 years.
Which is bananas.
Yeah, it's a lot of bananas. It's a lot of rotten bananas. It's not even the bananas that you want to consume, and it's those really long plantain bananas that don't taste like bananas, but whatever. It's in it's amazing because she just she just made it to it's like, you know what? It's just gonna be it's I don't want anyone else to know. Like her entire family had no clue this dude was still alive. The entire family.
Fucking what?
Like how he got out and how that all worked out, I don't entirely know, but yeah, I don't know the full details, just other than that's where he was found. And I can't recall if the reporters just didn't want to release all that because it's still kind of under investigation.
Oh, I'm sure.
And they talked to the mom, right? I'm like,
Who's
yo,
batshit fucking nuts?
they're like, "Yo, you've been keeping your kid for 8 years," and everyone, yeah, I know. I kind of trimmed that conversation down, but that's basically the gist of it. Hey, yo, you've been keeping your kid for 8 years.
Right, like captive.
What? And she, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what happened. And
But she
so
gave him a different name.
yeah, and so the
There's
police
that.
are like, okay, we got to gather more evidence. Hang tight, okay. And Rudy's in the hospital. He's recovering, so she gets released and she goes home. And so this reporter follows her home, and next thing you know, she's on the news, and the reporter's talking to her, and she's packing up her trunk,
She's
and
about to bounce.
now the mom is in the wind. Nobody really, they haven't talked to the mom or seen the mom since.
Yikes.
And Rudy, he was living in a different space, and he's like, yeah, I don't need to see my mom right now. I
Yeah,
don't need
no,
to,
ever.
I
Thanks.
don't need to be in contact. He doesn't like want her dead, so to speak, but it's just
Right.
like, yeah, I'm good. I don't need that right now in life ever. No. She's like, so
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
it's so bizarre. It's so many bizarre things that happen right there with that it's just never
When
it
you were telling
never
me this,
uh
the first time, I was like, my brain was exploding.
yeah, I'm holding my head up right now because I'm just like I don't I don't know, like you get to a point where you start to hear about certain cases and you're just like, okay, but why didn't you investigate? Because that shit sounds clearly got holes in it. Just hearing how the initial conversation happened with the mom, where she's like, "Yeah, he's been kidnapped and taken to Mexico." Okay, how do you know that? And
Right.
why would you tell your kid to walk, or
And why
why,
wouldn't you call the police?
or what would the kid? Why would the kid just happen to walk? And so, me trying to wonder what that's like. I put in I put in the Google Maps and it was like, okay, here's the southernmost city in Mexico, and if this kid is from Houston, uh, or Dow, wherever he was, Houston, or I think it was Houston, it was something
I
like
think it
Harris
was Houston.
County or something like that. How
So
long would
you
that?
checked the
How
southernmost
long?
city
How
or
long?
the
Yeah,
northern?
it's the southern because he's walking north because he's using the moon. Remember,
Yeah,
so
right. Yeah.
so it's like, okay, how long would that take? Would that take? That can't take. It can't. The Earth is
Take
not
8
that big.
years.
The Earth is not that big. I mean, I guess if you're taking breaks and whatnot, like if you're saying like, this is a pretty cool place, I might hang out here for a month, and
Right.
you did that like,
Every day.
128 times, maybe. No, it takes 18 days to walk.
Yeah.
It takes 18 days to walk. Um, and by days, I mean, even if you chose, no, fuck days, I need the moon to guide me, because it comes
Right,
up,
because my
it
mom
rises.
said, and she
Yeah,
knows what she's talking about.
it rises in the east and sets in the west. So I guess while you walk, you're like, hey, the moon's got to be on my right, and then it's got to be on my left. That way, I know I'm walking
That
north.
makes no sense.
Right. It makes none. So it takes
Yeah.
18 days. So what happened to the? So why 8 years? Well, that's because dude was already here, and I don't. And I guess they figured like, well, he must be dead because it shouldn't. It sounds very uncaring and trite to say this. Well, I guess he must be dead because it shouldn't take more than a month to get here. So I guess if he didn't follow the walking plan, he must he must be dead. There had to be something that you were telling your family for them to say, "All right, he's dead."
But no one in the family said, What? No, no, no. He doesn't need to walk.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah,
kayak this.
yeah,
We'll get him, fly him here, something.
right. That's the thing for me that is like this the family went along with it in the sense that yeah, okay, I'm sure they must have called around to certain people in Mexico that they might have had a connection with, and then they're like, I don't know where we were searching for Rudy here. We have, and so everybody else is coming up with empty hands basically in their search there and in the search in the U.S. and still nothing. So I guess they all came to this collective thought, like if you're not finding anything and we're not finding anything, then he must not be. It must not be possible for him to be found. Like he must be dead.
Hang on just a second.
So that's how that all worked out. And by worked out, I mean that's where it is right now. Like there's no charges being pressed on the mom.
Do you think that there'll be charges pressed on the family, or that there will be
I don't.
because how could a family of people of right mind,
Yeah, yeah,
go fall for this? And I
yeah.
realize
I don't
that
know.
it happens in increments, and so it's,
Yeah,
people can get a little further with it
yeah,
than normal, but to be told that, oh no, he was kidnapped and he's in Mexico.
yeah,
But
yeah. I think
I talked to him and I told him, if this ever happens, then
walk.
walk north.
Yeah, and at
Um,
no point are you thinking when you get to a crossing guard, you tell them or
right.
ask somebody once you cross over into Texas, ask somebody, hey, can I use your cell phone to call 911? Because
Or
that
just
shit's
call the
free.
police. Yeah, somebody.
None of that is ever done in this mystical 8-year walk or realistic 18-day walk.
It's just
Sorry,
so
18-night walk.
damaging.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely. And so to your question, I can't see how I can't see charges being pressed to the family. Can it be something on the mom for wrongdoing? I mean, she would be the one that
Yeah.
initiated this and kept this at play.
I bet his family
And
feels like a bunch of fucking dicks.
and then they're probably trying to figure out like, okay, how much of this is on
Right.
Rudy also because he's
Sure.
17
Yeah,
when this happens.
absolutely.
He's 17 when this happens. It's not like he's 4.
Fair.
So I don't
And we don't
know.
know if he's on the spectrum or anything like that,
Right.
right?
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Okay.
I don't know what mental capacity it was for him because at the same time, I have to imagine that he was vulnerable too. His brothers died in a wreck. His dad died
Right.
the way that happened. So, however that affected him, he might have been easily susceptible for someone else's paranoia or psychosis or whatever as
Fair.
well. And so it might have been like just the perfect combination for that to go off. And then when you have different instances that kind of that's okay, this is a crazy thought. And then you have something happen, you're like, well, shit, that just happened. Maybe it isn't crazy. Then you just sort of like that it starts becoming facts by way of just coincidences.
This whole
Uh,
family is gonna
yeah,
need an amazing amount of therapy. The mom, I mean, she just needs
yeah.
to be put in prison. She needs to be
I
held
don't,
captive.
I don't even know. I don't even know how or where therapy starts or can be even something that's approached. I don't know. Like they
You just do it. You just start talking. But the thing
it's
is that it's gonna be so far reaching, because the rest of the family that believed the mom, they're gonna have survivor's guilt. They're gonna have
well, right. They're gonna have it. They're gonna have some. They're gonna have. I don't even know what it's called. I don't know if it's called survivor's guilt. I don't know what to
right,
call it because there's just like they didn't experience it all together. They experienced it by way
a
of
one side.
of how that story was spun. And in that situation, I have to imagine in that moment in time when you're dealing with your aunt, and your sister, or whoever, however she was related to each and every one of them, knowing what she's gone through, knowing how raw everything is, who's gonna, now that apparently your kid has been abducted and taken to Mexico, who's gonna be like, okay, Francine, is this bullshit? I mean,
Right.
because why, why would he be abducted and taken to Mexico? I mean, I don't know. Maybe a family member did. I don't know, but not. You just, I don't know if they would be in that mindset of, look, she's been through so much shit as it is. Do we question this Rudy thing, or did she do something to him or anything? Meanwhile, Rudy's in the house the whole time. Rudy's there the whole
Yeah,
time.
it's fucking bananas.
So I don't know. It's just so much. It's so much bizarro village stuff that it's
I
just
mean, it
amazing.
sounds like a movie plot, honestly. Like somebody tried to get really creative and come up with some fucked up story, but this is actually true. This is happening.
Yeah, it's a
And
very, very true
I
thing.
feel terrible for this
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
He will never be the same ever in
Oh,
his
no, no,
entire
no,
life.
no, no, no. I mean, like, everything is per definition, per perspective after this point. Like, his normal, his same, that's
Sure.
all going to be different. Like, from what he can cobble together to make um a new life, a new normal relationship with his family members. Um, because they got to be looking at him certainly in a different way as well. Because I mean, I would imagine at least one of them is going to be like, "Dude, why didn't you say something? As
Right.
as as close as we were, why didn't you? Why didn't you come out? Didn't you ever? We would have helped you or protect you."
Sure.
They the the family has got to be flailing all over the place. Like I
Oh
want to get
yeah.
at I want to get at her. I want to know why the hell he didn't say anything. I want to know why
Mhm.
you told me this. Why did you go along with it? What the hell? They've got to be hit with every bit of emotion and wanting to just rip throats out at being so
Oh
angry
my
about
God, right?
certain things because they literally was deceived, lied to, and made fools of for 8 years. I mean,
I wonder how much shame the mom is
yeah,
experiencing
yeah,
right now.
yeah. I was
Because
wondering,
you never know. I mean, she could be just completely psychotic and not have any remorse at
yeah,
all.
who knows? Who knows? I mean, last I heard, the last interview I saw, she was like, I didn't know any of this.
Oh
I
my
didn't,
God.
I didn't abuse him. I didn't, yeah. And it's like this family, they went through a funeral, they went through
Oh my
mourning,
God, I
they went
can't
through
even.
grief, they went through a
And the
memorial,
mom let it happen.
yeah,
A
that's the thing.
funeral, a
Well, that's
funeral.
and that's the thing I'm saying is like it goes both ways. Like as a family member, you get pissed off at the mom, and then you're also looking at Rudy like, dude, you you could have stepped out of that room at any point
Right,
and ended this sorrow we all were going through, but you went along with what your mom was saying.
right,
And at the same time, they can say, okay, we know you were going through stuff too, and it's your mom, and you're trying to, and maybe in some way you were thinking, I'm helping her by going along with this to, help her grieve. And then somehow you got caught up in it and brainwashed too. Who knows? But the fact is still the same. 8 years went by. What the fuck?
right.
So yeah, it's just amazing. The story is amazing. It's still unfolding. Like I said, there was other abductions that took place, and those other abductions are kind of weird, and they're unfolding too. So um, maybe we'll talk about those whenever more details come out. Because I don't like
So,
to talk.
go
Hmm?
ahead.
I just don't know if it's best for us to talk about stuff that are kind of half baked at this point.
Sure.
But yeah, I am I am referring to Carly Russell. But
Yeah, I was gonna say,
yeah,
the lady with the stop for the toddler, right?
yeah,
Oof.
that's
If y'all don't know about this story, y'all need to go and and check it
It's,
out.
it's got a lot of layers to that.
What area is she in?
Oh shit. I don't, she was in
Is it Ohio?
sh-
No,
nah, she was in
Alabama.
yeah, Birmingham, Alabama.
Alabama.
It just it's a I'm gonna really come off skewed if I say any more about it. It's really one of those things where it's like it's a story that it's so many elements to it that it like a lot of things have to align when you have a bunch of elements to a story. And when it's coming hot out the gate like that, I my meter goes way up. And I just have to okay, I guess this is, and if we're talking about it, I'd rather wait for more information, but a lot of information has come out so far, and none of it's looking good
Yeah,
for Carly, really. But maybe there's going to be some information that comes out where everything falls in place, and then it starts making sense. But for right now, a lot of it's not making sense.
right. Yeah, sadly. It's just, but it's just, it's like fucking wow.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. So the other
People
thing,
be losing their damn minds, okay? Can we just start acting right? Just
yeah,
everybody calm
right,
down.
right,
Come
right.
on. I ain't got time for this shit. Y'all giving me a headache. I'm postmenopausal. It's fucked up. I'm already struggling.
Okay, well, let me help with that then. So, one of the other things we were trying to figure out is what happens, and maybe some people can email us or hit us up on social media and whatnot about this to give us. You had a pondering moment in like what happens to infants when mothers give birth in prison. You know, like yeah, I think he hit me up saying, "What happens to prison babies?" And I was like, "I
Yeah.
don't know. Let's figure that out."
And I was
And
like, let's talk about prison babies. To me, it just clicked in my head. Like, I wonder what the percentage. So, what I was initially thinking is that the low hanging fruit for
mhm,
this situation is the mom was pregnant and got arrested and detained,
yeah,
and then found out she was pregnant or had the child in jail or in prison. But
yeah,
what I'm what I thought about was, what if a, there was a conjugal visit?
yep,
I don't know if those are even legal anymore.
hmm
Um, and then a male prisoner ends up being a dad to, because of that encounter.
hmm
And then that, what does that look like, and what are the odds of that happening? And you know, then I started wondering, well, I wonder if there's like a scholarship or something for that. Not if that's something that you're going to be like, I'm honored to accept this. That's not what I'm, or maybe some financial aid or something. I don't know. In my head
yeah.
at the time, I was just wondering and kind of, just kind of
So,
wondering.
so the first part that you had, um, basically, you have to go into prison pregnant, or you're fucking a guard. In regards to it being a woman,
Right.
um, because I just looked up and it's actually only 4 states left that allow variations of conjugal visits.
Oh, okay. What are
Uh,
they?
is California. They
Hmm.
and I love that they're all in quotes. So it's left to it's left to the imagination of those that hear this. But California, they allow quote unquote contact visits. Connecticut, or some people that like to say Connecticut, uh, they they allow extended family visits. So does Washington. It allows extended family visits, and then New York has a family reunion program. So apparently California is the only one that has contact visits. Everything, the other three have family style. Uh,
But it doesn't say what contact is. Is it
um,
touching each other, hugging each other?
yeah, I mean, I think that's the whole thing with the contact, like to what degree and how vigorous is that contact? It really doesn't get descriptive in that because you don't want it to come off as like an amenity. So
Right.
there's
Fair.
that. But so then that was part of the rabbit hole. The other part of the rabbit hole that I went into over this was one of the side questions was, do they give birth control in prison? And
Oh,
the response was the jail must make birth control options available at least 60 days before your release date. So if
what?
you request birth control at the time of your release, the jail must make sure you get it, and the jail does not have to give uh, you a new birth control method if you are more than 60 days away from your release date. So they they can do that, and it gets a little deeper, because I was looking into the prison baby thing. Is like most women who give birth while incarcerated have to hand over their baby to a family member or friends.
Right.
If no one can help, then the baby goes to the Office of Children's Services, and
Hmm.
I guess
Adopted
they
out,
or
fostered or something.
foster home or something like that, depending on the person. And then again, if you if anyone that's listening is triggered by life choice and or pro-choice or not, might want to skip this
Mm,
skip this
yeah,
part because
sure.
there are prisons that do allow or facilitate abortions. So there's that. Because I don't know. I guess some women, it's like, I guess to your point that you were saying before, it depends on how far along you are. Um,
Sure.
I mean, if you go to jail or you go to prison 6 months in, 6 months into your pregnancy, um, you're along for the ride, basically, I guess. I don't know. I've not been in that situation or know of anyone personally that's been in that situation. So
Yeah, me neither.
I can't really say for a fact this, that, or the other. But from what I've been researching, that's what it's come out to be, and it's one of those things that that person has to request from the prison itself in that period of time. It's a very interesting thing. Once, like at first when you mentioned, it, I was like, yeah, I guess. I mean, I guess they have the baby. I mean, I think foster care is always foster care. And then I got more into it. I was like, fuck, she laid that sneak
I didn't
attack
mean to
on
put a
the,
fucking landmine there,
that
but
weird sneak attack. It's like, hey, prison babies. What I'm like, what about prison babies? Really,
you're like I'm
really.
84 hours into research
And then
here.
just now talking about it, it's like, what? 4 states? And because they like you look at movies and you're like, yeah, I got the console. It's like, oh, okay. Well, really, that's only in
Right.
California.
It's exactly.
That's really only in
If that.
California.
Well,
So that's weird because
I wonder. Go ahead.
I mean, I'm saying that's weird because in the front of the article it was like, yeah. So if you're in it's like if you're in Texas, you're screwed. Yeah, you don't get anything there. It really depends on the state. It really depends on the state, and I guess also how you are as an inmate in regards to what privilege you might get here or there, or how often that's something that somebody can get. I'm sure there's probably special circumstances for some people, like if your kid's about to go through a surgery or family member is sick or whatever, maybe they give you a little special privilege on seeing somebody or whatever. But
Right.
yeah,
I wonder what the percentage is, or how it plays out when a guard gets someone
Yeah, I
pregnant.
don't know, right? Like
Ugh,
I've seen it played out in movies and whatnot. That's my only real connection with it. And I've seen some prisoners talk about it on different podcasts and whatnot. Like that shit really does go down. Um, but and like goes down with male guards and female guards.
sure.
So I, I don't know the ins and outs. No pun. I don't know how that works. How do you set up? How do you get to the point where you're a form of law enforcement and now you're hooking up with the criminal? And I think there's a case or two where some people have gotten with those people once they got out too. So
So I'm reading an. I just looked it up, and CBS News had an article in April 24th, 2013,
mhm,
and in Baltimore, there were there was one guy. His name was Tavon White.
mhm,
He got 4 female prison guards
mhm,
pregnant.
mhm.
Okay, what the hell?
I mean,
I could see if it was one guard intimidating
no,
inmates to sleep with them,
yeah,
but
yeah.
how's the prisoner gonna be like, I'm gonna fuck all these guards? Like, how does that happen?
Wait. The prisoner got 4 guards
Yeah,
pregnant.
4 different prison guards
Wow,
pregnant. Oh,
wow,
what the hell?
yeah,
I
wow.
mean, I would love to know how that played out. Like, I mean, were they talking about his dick and then all of a sudden everybody was on top of it, or
Yeah, and she's like, "Nah, you're lying. No, you got to check it out for yourself. Nah, you're lying." And then it's like,
it's
"Hey,
not a taste test, but apparently it is.
hey, Officer Smith told me that I need to check out your dick. Let me see." Ooh, she was not lying. Let
I
me
gotta
try
hit that
that.
real quick.
Let me try that. And then next thing you know, and it's like a fucking, and then they tell their friends, and then they tell their friends, and the next thing you know, this
I mean,
guy
this
is in prison, but he's like the prison gigolo for the
it,
guards.
you know what? He kind of does look like a gigolo because this man's facial expression, he don't give a fuck. All he knows is that
Well,
when they were taking that picture right there, he was not fucking somebody, and he did
man,
not look entertained.
I guess it's like I guess it's a thing of where it's like, yo, I'm getting all these special privileges as long as it's kind of weird. I mean, I don't know what the end game was. I don't know what the goal was or how he was you have to have major game. And that's why I'm stuttering and that's why I
For
can't
sure.
comprehend it. I can't comprehend it because you have to have major game to be in a cell and then getting with 4 prison guards, 4 female prison guards. Four?
Yeah.
Four. So that means that whole cell block is just run by women because
No,
they don't
actually,
have
it's run by Tavon because,
right. But I mean, but the point is that they don't have women stacked up in prison blocks like that. They
yeah,
might have one here, one there, but all 4. That means they were transitioning from one block to another by way
yeah,
of the word of mouth about this dude. So yeah, it's kind of interesting in that regard. But um,
yeah.
yeah,
This it's
um,
been weird. There's been a lot of weird stuff
there's
happening.
been some weird things, but
Speaking of weird,
mhm,
okay, is it Shawn Ryan Show?
mhm.
Have you been listening to those?
I have not heard the third one yet.
Oh,
I've
it's
not heard.
bananas.
I have not heard the third one. The first one I've heard. The second one was just like, dude, I need a fucking break. Um,
My brain can't handle it.
so yeah, this is a perfect this is a perfect bookend for this episode. Um, so we talked about the Shawn Ryan Show before, and it's kind of weird because we're talking about another podcast, and we have no affiliation with this podcast. We have
Right.
no allegiance to Shawn Ryan. We're just tipping our hat towards someone that's been doing it much longer than us. But
Fair.
their content, well, even if they were doing it much like, it's not that's not it's the content. The content that
Right.
he's doing, is really it's really in our interest areas, and especially when you
Yes,
talk
and
about,
dude has balls. I mean,
yeah,
it's not only what he's doing,
yeah,
it's that he's just like, "Here it is, y'all. I mean, this is what it
yeah,
is. This is what we're working with."
and this is kind of like lower rung, an and an addendum to the fine print that was before. Uh, so saying all that, we have no affiliation with them, so we don't. I'm not saying that we share the same views or we support the same things as Sean Ryan, or buy the products that he um, that he represents
Promotes.
or is spokesperson for. It's just content, just straight up content. Um,
And he doesn't mind it, and he'll say he doesn't mind it. He's like,
yeah,
"Use our stuff. There's clips. Use them."
right. Well, but I mean, like over the like I've been watching him watching his stuff for a while, and it's kind of changed a little bit. And hats off to him. He's found religion. Okay, great. And he's not, his political beliefs are right there front and center. So that's why I'm sort of prefacing it by saying like, hey, it's not in any, we're solely content. We're not saying like
Right.
we're aligned in each and every way with them. But as of late, after talking to Dr. Greer, he had a three he had a three-part series in regards to the whistleblowers, and I've watched the
For
first
the
two.
aliens, right?
Yeah, for aliens and the government's tie-in with it, and or military tie-in with it,
Your task
how
force.
big it is, how long it's been going, and it's some amazing shit, to say
It
the
is
least.
really, it's
To say the
amazing.
least, because now you've got people that apparently have been eyes on, and their account of what's been going on, and none of them are like none of them are making it out like gangbusters. Pretty much, especially the guy in part two, their lives are a wreck. They
Oh, for sure.
their life is a wreck. And I think I messaged you when I was watching the second
Yes, you did.
part, and I was like, that shit almost ended 6 minutes in, because like he was there and then immediately thought this is a setup. And you could see in his demeanor, you could see in the way he was looking, like, I'm gonna have to take this dude out on camera because he's trying to set me up. Like
Right.
and then once he told his story, it's like, oh yeah, I could totally see why this guy is thinking that. Like he's living on edge the whole time. So it's a lot of that stuff like that, but it's a great series. The link is in the previous episode, our previous episode, episode 35. Is going to be in this one too, for everybody to check it out. So definitely go do that. But it's just amazing. It's sort of like the stuff that but now that you got other accounts, there's a little bit more grandeur. It's a little bit more, not grandeur, but it's a little bit more of a grand scope to it. It's bigger. It's in other countries. These are people we know.
Yeah.
That's where it gets a little bizarro, because their allegiance is not to anyone but themselves. Like, they are doing and operating and doing things that are not widely known, and to what goal, also not widely known. There's a lot of things into it, um, that touches on things that honestly, on the surface, is very, very disconnected in regards to, you hear about UFOs, you hear about UAPs, you're thinking about people out from outer space. You're not thinking of all the different connections that it has on a earthling level of things, like human trafficking, guns and drugs, and just bizarro examples. It's just nuts.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to even try to make your brain entertain.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but highly suggest people that are into that to check it out. It's worth it. He does long content. I know Dinosaur
Yeah.
feels like we're on the verge of doing long content, but not like this dude. Yeah, I've seen some of
Oh,
this
he does
5 and 6 hours long,
hours.
and I don't know how he's doing all that, but yeah,
Stamina.
check it out.
Stamina.
Yeah, check it out. Shawn Ryan Show. The link will be in the description of our podcast. And yeah, it's definitely. I think that these guys are very. I
I
don't
think
want
they're
to get.
brave as shit.
Yeah,
I
I
think
was gonna
they're
say.
fucking brave.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I don't know if I'm gassing it too much, but say they're brave or courageous. I think they're just tired. I think they're just
Yeah,
tired of like,
fair.
hey, I'm living in fear, and if I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna let people know what the
Right.
fuck's going on.
I'm not
Like,
going to have a heart attack because I'm always looking back behind me.
right. Or I'm not
It
gonna
is
have a
what
heart
it
attack.
is.
Yeah, I'm not gonna have a heart attack because somebody spiked my water or came at me at night or like
Right.
with that,
Whatever's going to happen is
or
it's
like
going to
or
whatever.
yeah, or like with that second guy, try to make it look like an accident, and
Uh-huh.
he ends up falling out of a plane and thought dude was dead, and he just happened to survive. And it's like, at a certain point, you get, I would assume, at a certain point, you just get tired of like, you know what? Here you go. This is
Okay.
what happened. This is what happened. This is what happened. This one, because apparently me keeping quiet isn't enough. You're still gonna want to take me out. So fuck
Right.
off. So yeah, it's a very interesting. It's a very interesting um, marathon, as he calls it. Uh, th- so again, check it out.
And all of these people have met Dr. Greer and have been working with him, throughout this whole thing,
In some
including
capacity.
Shawn. Yeah, in some capacity.
In some capacity.
Um,
Yeah.
even Shawn Ryan.
Yeah, in some capacity they have. Like some just came to the last show that Dr. Greer had. Some have been in hiding and just over time. I don't think any of them have been with Greer since the very beginning of
No,
his
I doubt it.
endeavor. It's just that through his works, they finally are like I said, tired. And
Yeah.
I think Shawn Ryan's talked to Greer before. I guess he had him on before. I gotta see if there's that episode somewhere. But yeah, it's been an interesting thing where it's like, you know, this is bananas, but real bananas, not those plantain fuckers. Those bananas
It's
that
like an organic. Like
yeah,
there's
like those plantains that you think you're like, I'm getting a bonus banana. No, you're not.
no, you're not.
It's not gonna taste the same at all. But yeah, I think I don't know, short and sweet.
Yeah.
Short and sweet to
Shut
check
your
it out.
face up. Because on the podcast notes, that I make every week,
Mhm.
um, it says short and sweet. I'd already written that down
There
as
you
one of
go.
the descriptor words
There you
for it.
go.
So this is Kismet. Are you kidding me? And we're fixing to do it under an hour, which we have to make that mark.
No, I mean
We've got,
we're not gonna do it under an hour.
we're
You know
not.
for fuck's
I
sake.
know.
If it's just us recording ourselves farting, it's probably gonna be an hour and a minute or whatever like that.
That's
Because
probably true.
originally because I'm listening to our old recordings trying to figure out different clips to put on our YouTube channel. And it's like, yeah, at some point I'm saying it's gonna be like 30 minutes, 45 minutes tops. Nothing over an hour. Like after that, we're just doing
Okay, so I guess we can't. I can't.
hour long shit. But nah,
Okay,
it's me.
that's fair.
It's gonna be short and sweet, and we're gonna come back next episode. It's gonna be our 37th uh, episode, and we're gonna have more content, more amazing stuff. We're gonna do a lot of reviews.
We've been very zen this podcast. Like we've talked about some serious stuff. So
Yeah,
hopefully we can do some reviews and yuck it up and
yeah.
just kind of get stupid.
We're going to do movie reviews, and we're going to talk about, I don't know, I think maybe it's time to bring back some more relationship stuff. But,
Relationship.
yeah, and have some
Okay.
relationship stuff, and see what's there. I've been,
Yeah, I mean, well,
I've been, I've been,
there's a brand new week ahead of us, so
yeah, I've been
the
thinking about
weirdness
that.
comes out.
I've been thinking about that stuff too. So let's see how that works out. But in any case, we want to thank you all for joining us for another awesome episode. Really appreciate you all. However you found us, however you are sticking with us. Remember to like, friend us, or whatever the fuck you want to do on all of our social media,
Give us
Twitter,
hopes.
Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We're on Spotify and Amazon and Google Podcasts, iHeart, and we've got the website, the dinosaur and the dude square site. You can go there, check out all the episodes and our
Please.
merch, and just fuck around with us online. Send us
Yeah,
send
just
us
play with
messages.
us.
Hmm?
I said, just play with us.
Yeah, send us messages, and maybe we'll get around to answering you. But in any case, thank you all again for another listening in at the two of us yap to each other. We really appreciate it. And as always, she's the dinosaur,
That's me.
and I'm the dude. And you guys are fucking badass motherfuckers and daddy fuckers. And we appreciate you all. Oh, wait, no, father fuckers. Yeah,
Fatherfuckers.
yeah.
Daddy fuckers is good though.
Well, if I say motherfuckers, then I feel like I gotta say father fuckers.
And if you say mommy fuckers, it's just
Yeah, the mommy. See, it's always mother, father, mommy, daddy, right?
okay.
In it?
Right, right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
motherfuckers and fatherfuckers out there. Appreciate y'all. And if y'all are, hanging around in, I don't know, in the South, then I guess you're the mommy and fuckers and daddy fuckers, I guess. I don't know. It sounds like a Southern thing to say mommy and daddy.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. All right,
It's kind of
everybody.
creepy.
Thanks a
All
lot.
right.
And hey, lady, I love you.
Yep. I love you too.
You are awesome as always. All right.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.